You're going to chew on this video all freaking week. Today, I'm diving into analysis paralysis in Warhammer 40,000, specifically when it comes to tournaments. So how the heck are you going to decide what army you're bringing to a tournament? This is a problem that I face very regularly, and I'm sure a lot of you guys too do as well. Now, the reality is most people who play Warhammer have more than one army. If you only have one army, your decision is really easy. But for those of us who want to go compete and have a blast playing in tournaments, and we have multiple armies, sometimes it can be really difficult for us to decide, well, who are we going to bring to this tournament? It's tough, and for me, I'm actually going through this right now. Uh, and last night I was kind of like just trying to figure out a way to determine what army I want to bring, and I came across like a system that was really, really, really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a specific set of rules right now, and then I'm going to go to the TTS screen, and I'm going to show you exactly what the step-by-step process of me figuring out what armies I take to tournaments are, so that you guys can do the exact same thing for yourselves. And trust me, this is a really, really, really convenient way of doing things. It's really complete, and I think you're gonna benefit quite a bit from this. It's one of the things that I'm gonna start coaching all my clients on. So here, free information, have at it. I love you all. So this is my gift to you. So generally speaking, whenever we start deciding what type of army we want to bring to a tournament, the first thing we do is we look at the player pack, and we have to see what are the missions and what are the layouts. By the way, this is evergreen. This will apply to 11th edition as well. Your layouts are going to be what they are. Like, you need to know these things. It's very important. Even though mission is going to be a little bit different in 11th, this is still going to absolutely apply for tournament prep. It'll be a little bit different, and I'll redo it then as well. All right, so we have to look at what the maps and missions are. If you know that you're playing orcs and every single map and mission is on GW4 Crucible of Battle, don't bring orcs, dude. like that's just a bad army for that particular mission pack. So you should bring a different army, assuming you have multiple armies. Once again, yes, I understand that not everyone has multiple armies. This really only applies if you're trying to figure out what army that you own or at least have access to that you can bring to a tournament. So look at the player pack, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, Jonathan, I have like 6 different armies and I really don't know which one to run. They're all pretty good. Well, then you start asking, what's the goal of the tournament? Is the goal of the tournament to win? Is the goal of the tournament to go 4-1? Is the goal of the tournament to go 3-2? This can influence the armies as well. When we're looking at the map, we have to decide, how do we win on this map? So we're going to take every single army that potentially we want to bring to this tournament, and we're going to say, hey, how do I win on mission number 1? How do I win on mission number 2? How do I win on mission number 3? What happens if I go first here? What happens if I go second here? Then we're going to look at every single map. We're going to identify the staging points, and we're going to determine how do we get to deliver our units to where they need to go. And all this is going to make a lot of sense in just a moment. And then lastly, we're going to look and we're going to see, hey, am I able to set up my turn 1 movement phase in my deployment step? If you get to a check mark on all of these, say yes, okay, I can win because of blah blah blah. I can go first here. I can go second here, no problem. There are plenty of places for me to stage or places for me to deliver my models on this map. Good, and I can easily set up my movement phase in my deployment phase. Then yeah, this is a good army to bring to this tournament. So I'm going to take 2 armies side by side, and I'm going to show you how do I implement this immediately. So let's just jump to the TTS screen. All right, so right here, I'm actually prepping for a tournament, and let me actually kind of minimize my face here a little bit. I'm actually currently prepping for a tournament, and this is like mission number 1 that is available to us. So I've got like, I don't know, 5, maybe even 6 armies that I'm debating bringing to the tournament. So I'm going to show you 2 of the armies that I'm considering and how I would go through this method of determining which army I would like to bring. So if I just wanted to start right with it, here, let's take a look at this. This is GW6. And this is going to be Tipping Point, Linchpin. So the 2 armies I'm currently considering in this video, and there are others, trust me, I'm not giving away all my secret sauce to the people who are trying to compete against me. I'm currently considering Blood Angels, and I'm considering Solar Spearhead Custodes for this particular tournament. So for the first mission of this tournament, shout out to the guys out in Trondheim, Nidaros. This is for anyone who's in Norway, if you're in Scandinavia and you want to come up to a great tournament. That's going to be at the last weekend of April, first weekend of May. So shout out. Not sponsored, but I still love those guys. All right, so this is how I would actually determine this. I have my Blood Angels hanging out, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through the list too intensely, but I got a 3-man Sangard, I got a 6-man with Dante, I got a 6-man of Blade Guard Vets with a Fight First Chaplain. This is Liberated Assault Group, mind you. Sanguinor, 2 squads of JPI, 1 solo Death Company Captain with a Race Fueled Warrior enhancement. Power Fist, that guy's awesome. So it's just secret Blood Angel tech if you guys aren't running him. Double Ball Predators, because I think Ball Predators are low-key the best units in all of Blood Angels. 1 Lancer, 1 Impulsor with Incursors inside of it, and 2 squads of Scouts, and of course, Chief Librarian Mephiston. So When I look at this particular map, I'm on GW6. I draw my line, so I'm like, all right, where does my opponent, where can I deploy? So the first step is, how do I win on this map? Well, the way Blood Angels win is that we aggressively stage, and effectively, we're going to charge 2,000 points of our army into 2,000 points of your army. We're going to kill 1,000 points, and then we're just not going to care when that you have 1,000 points of your army left to try to kill 2,000 points of our army. It's like a tried and true, definitionally melee pressure army. We tend to win melee trades really well because we've got access to -1 to be hit, -1 to be wounded, armor contempt. We've got tons of access to fights first in between the Sanguinor and Mephiston and our enhancements to give us fights first. We've got great overwatches with the Ball Predators. We've got great trading ability, seeing as unit of JPI can seriously punch up and liberate Assault Group. That is how Blood Angels win on this map. So when I look at it, I go, okay, cool, that's the map. Then I go, what are my staging points on GW6? If you guys don't know what I mean by a staging point, well, a staging point is where can I stand safe from shooting, yet still am able to extend my influence upon the battlefield. So if I was looking at this map, I would identify this as a staging point right here. Boom. And I would also identify this as a staging point. Now, I'm safe from shooting here. Now, of course, my opponent can get an angle here, but it does force them to move up pretty aggressively and expose themselves to my nastiness. Right here, my opponent could shoot me if it came all the way over here, but that requires at least 2 battle rounds of movement, which means I can at least safely stage here. Now, for those of you, this is not a staging video, but just really quickly so everyone understands, this right here is a staging point for a Ball Predator, but this would not be a staging point, say, for JPI, because JPI from right here would be like a 12-inch movement. They're not really able to exert their influence up here, so this wouldn't be a staging point, even though this would be for JPI. My Lancer, however, this is a great staging point, because from right here, my Lancer can move on up, and it can blast this entire battlefield. But it wouldn't be a staging point for the JPI, who are right next to it. Just so you understand. Okay, carrying on. So I look at it, I say, okay, cool, yes, I can win on this map. Yes, I have good staging points. And then I go, all right, now, what happens if I go first here? Well, if I go first, these scouts have the ability to scout forward 6 inches. Boom. And then they actually have the ability to move 6 inches or even advance in charge and just murder my opponent's chaff if they're standing here. Otherwise, they could also just stand 1.1 inches in front of my opponent to stop them from moving. Okay, that's very useful. And if I go second, they can just scout back here and be perfectly safe. Very useful. Right here, my scouts can do the exact same thing on this flank. Okay, they can go first and move, block, charge, kill, chaff, do whatever they need to do. Otherwise, they could just back up and stay right back here. All right, so this gives me the opportunity to go first and go second quite easily. I've got Impulsor that has Scout because I've got Incursors inside of it. It's got the ability to scout forward, and it can stand right here with my Blade Guard Vets very easily. Or, so basically, the Incursors would pop forward. Or I would scout forward, I would pop the Incursors out, then hop the Blade Guard Veterans in, finish the move. And at that point, the Blade Guard Veterans would be staged very well because they'd be inside the Incursor, so your opponent, or the Impulsor, so your opponent would have to kill the Impulsor first, and then the Impulse, you would disembark from the Impulsor and move 6 inches, which could give you an effective 9-inch disembark out of here, which is really, really valuable. So it would effectively give them 3 inches of extra range on the go turn. So this is a great staging point if I have the Impulsor standing there for my Blade Guard Veterans. Nice. Means my Blade Guard Veterans can get into their staging point. Dante starts on the backfield. He can stand right here very easily turn 1, and then he's staged to get wherever he needs to go in turn 2. Means I can stage very, very well. If I go first, I'm perfectly well staged to do whatever I need to do. If I go second, I'm basically perfectly safe. These scouts would scout backwards here. This Impulsor would scout backwards here. There's no lines for him to shoot my Lancer on. There's no lines for him to shoot my Ball Predator here. The only line where he could shoot this Ball Predator would be if he came all the way up here, and that is a risk I am willing to take, just so you guys can see this. So they would be able to see the Ball Predator, but they would have to cross this big, thick red line, and they'd have to stand here, which would be very, 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 very exposed to my entire army early on. And if he wants to put his big, scary anti-tank right there, turn 1, I'm pretty happy for that. So in this scenario, I'm actually willing to risk the Ball Predator to bring the person out. So even though I can't perfectly put my models to be 100% safe if I go second, I'm safe enough that if my opponent wants to kill me, he's going to have to take a serious risk with his positioning, and that is a-okay with me. Over here, assuming a standard battle tank movement of 10 inches, my opponent could not shoot me right here. Obviously, if you're playing Gladius or playing someone who's got faster battle tanks, you would have to adjust for your predicted movement values. So basically, yeah, I'm here. I can win on this map. I can also deploy safely if I go second, deploy aggressively if I go. I'm aggressively staged or deployed so that I can get up the map when I go first, and I'm also not at any risk when I go second. And I am very happy with the map overall in general. Actually, this is generally a pretty dang good deployment. My turn one movement phase is effectively already done. I already know exactly what's going to happen when I go first. If I go first, scouts are going to move up here. Scouts are going to move up here, depending on secondaries drawn. Mephiston is going to go right into the center because he's going to touch the center. He's going to force my opponent to come out with their scary things to shoot Mephiston. That's how I use Mephiston, guys. Because the only thing that really kills Mephiston at range would be like a Vindicator with Oath of Moment. If they want to put their Vindicator right here, turn one, to kill Mephiston, go for it, bro. And you're also not even guaranteed to kill Mephiston because Mephiston has a 2-up armor save, 5-up invulnerable save. I've got access to armor contempt. I got a 4-up field of pain on him. So you're going to have to dedicate something quite serious to actually kill Mephiston. Something much more valuable than his points cost, at least. So I send Mephiston to the center. These guys move up here. Basically, my turn one movement phase, whether I go first or second, is already predefined. It means my movement phase is going to take me about 3 seconds, or about 3 minutes total, if I'm not being exaggerating in the game. Okay, cool. Let's flip the dice. Let's flip the table. I'm going to show you what I would like to do with my Solar Spearhead. So if I wanted to run Solar Spearhead on this map, let's do the exact same exercise. I've got 2 great deployment spots for my Caladius gravity tanks. From right here, if I go second, they can't be shot, but I am able to shoot my opponent. I've got 2 squads of Witch Seekers here, 1 Witch Seeker squad, where they could both scout back up here to be safe. 1 could scout here to go to the center to get me, say, Area Denial, Establish Locus, whatever. 1 could scout up this way to give me easy access to touch my opponent's objective in turn 1 in case I draw like a tempting target or something like that. I've got 1 Telamon Heavy Dreadnought that's going to have to deploy visible, but I'm okay with this for the exact same reasons that I was okay with it with the Ball Predator. If my opponent wants to shoot my Telamon Heavy Dreadnought right here, I've got 2-up armor save. Oh, pardon me. I'm in cover. I've got a 4-up invulnerable save. I'm T10. I'm -1 damage with 12 wounds. And if I really wanted to, I could spend a CP to make myself -1 to be wounded, which would mean that this is bait for most anti-tank here, and that whatever comes out here is about to get lit the heck up by a Caladius gravity tank. So this is kind of bait for my opponent to try to shoot me turn 1. And I'm comfortable exposing that 1 model. I would prefer if I could hide him perfectly safely, but I'm comfortable with it just being bait. I've got prosecutors can easily, safely hold my home field. 1 Caladius up here, Telamon, Venerable Contempt or Dread prosecutors. All of these can get up here very easily. I might actually prefer to have one of my Witch Seeker squads here instead of here, but that's debatable. I've got a Telamon Heavy Dreadnought with double Gatling guns, or not double Gatling guns, Arachnus Storm Cannons. He cannot be seen in my opponent's turn 1. They would have to come all the way up there, and they still couldn't see him. I've got a Venerable Contemptor Dreadnought, who I would want to send to the center. He also cannot be seen. So basically, I'm staged perfectly well. I can get here. I can move through walls in this detachment, so I can stage. I am fast enough to get to all the objectives whenever I want. I have great firing lines. When I'm deployed, if I go second, I'm perfectly safe. If I go first, I can move up the battlefield quite aggressively without risking too much. Yeah, this is a solid map. So what I would do, after I went through this deployment and this deployment for both my Blood Angels and my Custodes, what I would do is I would come up here and I would say for mission number 1, this is a check mark. And then I would repeat this for every other mission and map pack on the tournament. So this tournament has like six missions and map packs. And if you guys want to see me do this live, I'm actually probably going to be doing a live later this weekend where I'm going, or probably either Thursday or Friday, I'm going to do a live where I'm going through all the mission map pack for all the armies I'm really considering for this particular tournament. And I'm going to show you how I would do with this with, say, like Orcs, Tyranids, Space Marines, other things. So this is my process. And if you go through this process, what you'll find out is that at the end of the process, you'll be like, okay, Custodes are great on this map, but they're horrible on the next map, horrible on the 3rd map, great on the 4th map. They're going to be okay on the 5th map, and they're okay on the 6th map, which means they have 2 greats, 2 okays, 2 terribles, which means, all right, they're very neutral overall. So then you would just end up giving them a neutral score. Blood Angels are great, because they're fast and they're infantry, great, okay, bad, okay. And this would give them an overall score of great for the mission map pack, which means for this tournament, I would select the Blood Angels. So this is my process. It's very, very valuable. You guys might need to rewatch this video a few times just so you can follow along. But if you do this, this is going to really, really streamline your decision-making process. It's going to make your life a lot better. Plus, it's going to do all your prep work for the tournament. So you're going to be ready to rock and roll when you show up because you already know exactly how you're deploying everywhere, which is going to save you a ton of brain power when you're playing in these tournaments. So guys, if you like this video, let me know. Smash the like button, share with friends, and until next time, I'm Crumpin. I hope you crump on, and I will too. Bye-bye.